I'm just leave it at that. You're just slow. Okay. So New Mexico sues DOJ Todd Blanche over Epstein investigation. Interesting. So here's on the left, it said investigations into Epstein's mysterious New Mexico ranch add pressure on the Justice Department. Anyway, New Mexico, y'all allowed him to be there. And you weren't mad when you were collecting taxes from all of that homestead that he bought. What are we talking about? Stop that. It's only an issue because you want to make it an issue now. Stop. Go somewhere. Okay. Progressive 𝗓𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗓 wins tight Michigan Democratic Senate primary. Okay. So he won the Senate primary, but how will he do in the general? That is the bigger question. Now, this one I found very fascinating. So Trump, not happy about oil industry record profits. He's not excited about it. Wasn't he the same person that was like, yeah, oil companies, if you do this and that and the other, I will make sure that you can make a lot of money. So I'm not sure what we're doing here. So the gains. So Saudi, let's see, Aramco, the world's largest oil exporter, reported a 33% jump in profits. Okay. During second quarter, taking in $8.2 billion more than it did last year. So Shell and ExxonMobil doubled their profits from last year to $9.8 billion and $14.5 billion, respectively. BP posted $5.7 billion profit, its best result since 2022. Chevron reported its highest quarterly earnings on a record at $12.1 billion. So Trump told reporters, based on a shortage, they're making too much money. I don't like it. Okay. And I should be the last one to say, because I'm a big free enterprise guy. When we're finished with Iran, you're going to see prices drop through the floor, but they made too much money. He added, when you look at one company where they made 12 times what they made the year before, they ought to give some back to the public. And they better cut the retail price, the consumer price. I'll say it loud and clear. I'm not happy about it. But hey, isn't that what capitalism is all about? Right? Turning a profit. Doesn't matter how you get it, apparently. In some cases, they're not doing anything illegal. Yes. Are they overcharging us? Yes. Do they know they're overcharging us? Yes. Will they continue to overcharge us? Yes. Obviously, they don't care. But we're still not looking into other fuel options to lower the cost. Because see, once they get some competition, that's going to lower the cost. Right now, they don't have any competition. Electricity is not a competition because the electricity actually needs fossil fuels to function. So what are we doing? There isn't another alternative that is actually widespread. And I don't want to hear about ethanol. It's horrible. It smells awful. Okay. And it's not as widespread to compete with the crude oil. Now, could we produce more crude here in the United States? We absolutely could. Should we? Yes. That will lower our dependency. That will lower the prices. That will create a lot more competition as opposed to us importing anything. So if we're going to do that, that's where it really starts. So hopefully we'll get there. Yeah. There's that. Now, I did want to touch on one article and just give an update on the National Defense Authorization Act, because where we left it, it's a very interesting act for fiscal year 2027. And what it does is it establishes the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. So we would actually be working with another world power on our defense. Why aren't we doing that with China or Russia or any other country? Because you're not supposed to. I'm just going to say it flat out. No, it is one thing to be respectful. It's another thing to involve a country who's not a member of the United States, period. You're not. And just allow them to be a part of our national defense. Like, this is insane, but it's happening. So it requires the Secretary of Defense to designate a Pentagon executive agent to coordinate and accelerate bilateral defense technology work with Israel. This covers research, development, testing, evaluation, integration into U.S. systems, industrial cooperation, joint ventures, licensing, co-production, and related activities in areas such as counter unmanned systems, missile and air defense, on, as you can see here. So here's the current status. Oh, and by the way, they changed the number. It was 224. It is now 219 for that section. So if you guys look this up, and I'll make sure to leave the link in the repost. So the House passed it on July 22nd under H.R. 8800, and Tom Massey and Ro Khanna to strip the provision via amendment were blocked by the Rules Committee and never received a floor vote. The provision remained in the final House-passed bill. The Senate Armed Services Committee approved its version in mid-June, and a cloture vote to begin floor debate failed on July 14th. It needed 60 votes. So further motions to proceed occur later in July, but have not advanced the bill to full consideration. So overall, the bill has not gone to conference, has not been reconciled between the chambers, and has not been sent to the president. The NDAAs are typically finalized later in the year, usually in December. As of the most recent CRS updates in late July 2026, and no final enactment has occurred. Well, that's good, but in my opinion, it needs to be removed, and we never need to have this conversation again. Now, we're going to get into some of the Democratic results, but in my opinion, could the Democrats use this completely against the Republicans going into the midterms? Absolutely, and get destroyed, as you should, because what are you doing? Nobody asked for this. Nobody wanted this. Nobody told you to do this, but here we are. So hopefully, prayerfully, they will stop this nonsense and remove this. It is ridiculous to involve another world power, and I will call them a world power because they do have a lot of influence. They just do, to be integrated with U.S. national security. No, this is not cool at all. I don't like it. All right. So with that said, let's get into some of the Democratic results that have occurred. Some of these, the primaries across the country. Well, mainly in Michigan. I think those are the ones that we're going to talk about.
Results are still being counted in the biggest test yet for progressive Democrats as Michigan Senate candidates 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 and Hallie Stevens. That race still too close to call. Both candidates already turning their attention to the midterms, though. Listen.
However we might feel about the campaign we've just come through, I want you to understand that it pales in comparison to the cynicism, in comparison to the lies that Mike Rogers and Donald Trump are going to tell.
Republicans are going to do everything they can to throw all the dirt, all the mud, the kitchen sink at us because they want to keep the U.S. Senate red.
Also yet to be called is progressive candidate Donovan McKinney's race against 𝗧𝗢𝗣𝗑𝗏 Thanadar for Michigan's 13th district. But in a major win for progressives, Sunrise Movement co-founder William Lawrence defeating Bridget Brink in the primary for Michigan's 7th district. It's on your screen. And look at this. DSA member Cori Bush Don't call it a comeback because it clearly is not. She lost her comeback bid against incumbent Wesley Bell. To react to these results, founding partner of South and Hill Strategies, Colin Reed, joins me now. Colin, let's focus on the two in Michigan that are still too close to call, the 𝗟𝗪𝗓𝗪 race and the McKinney-Thanedar race. What does that closeness say to you about the state of not just Michigan, but the state of our country?
A couple things, Todd. One, tough night for the public pollsters. So much for those polls that had 𝗟𝗪𝗓 up by double digits going down the home stretch. They'll have to answer for that as the cookie begins to crumble. Two, this socialist movement, it's no longer relegated to deep blue parts of New York City or mayoral races in New York City or Washington, D.C., but it's everywhere. It's in the heartbeat of